Lesson 8-9, Order of Operations with Fractions. By the end of today's lesson, you will be able to apply the order of operations to fractional computation, as well as simplify using the distributive property over subtraction. Make sure you have your pencil and paper ready so you're ready to work right along with me. So as you'll remember our order of operations, we have PEMDAS, P-E-M-D-A-S. Remember, this parentheses is any grouping, then we do exponents, multiply or divide left to right, whatever comes first, add and subtract left to right, whichever comes first. So we can use that to apply to fractions as well. Here we have 3 1/3 minus 1 1/3 squared plus 1 1/2. So our first thing would be to figure out this grouping here. Right here in parentheses, we've got to do this first. So 3 1/3 minus 1 1/3. So I'm going to do that work right over here. So 3 1/3, I'm going to turn that 3 1/3 minus 1 1/3. 1/3 minus 1/3 is 0. 3 minus 1 is 2. So this grouping now, we have 2 squared plus 1 1/2. Our next order would be the E, the exponents. So I have 2 squared. Well, 2 times 2 equals 4. So I have 4 plus 1 1/2. Now I need to add these two. I have two whole numbers. 4 plus 1, that equals 5. Bring my fraction straight down, 5 1/2. So this would equal 5 1/2. Let's take a look at another example. We have 2/3 squared minus 1/5 times 1/2. Well, we have parentheses right here, but there's nothing to do inside of them. Our next would be exponents. We have an exponent here. So we need to start right here. 2/3 squared. So that would equal 4/9. So I have 4/9 minus, then I just bring these straight down, 1/5 times 1/2. Okay, our next thing would be to multiply or divide going from left to right. So as I take a look here, I have subtraction. Right here is multiplication. So I need to do this next, 1/5 times 1/2. So I'll just rewrite my 4/9 minus, now 1/5 times 1/2. 1 times 1 is 1. 5 times 2 is 10. So I have 4/9 minus 1/10. Well, now I need to subtract those, and I need a common denominator between 9 and 10. I know 90 works, so I'm going to use 90. So in order, I'm going to rewrite that over here. 90 minus the 90. So 9 times 10 gave me 90. So I need to multiply this 4 times 10, which would be 40. Then I have 1 times, let's see, I multiplied 10 times 9, so 1 times 9. 40 minus 9 equals 31, and I bring my denominator down over 90. So the final answer is 31/90. Here's the next example. 2 times 1/3 divided by 0.25. So I'm going to think, this right here, 25 hundredths, that's the same as 1/4. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite this as 2 times 1/3 divided by 1/4. Since that equals the same thing. So now I need to go through. I don't have any parentheses. I don't have any exponents. I do have multiplying and dividing. So I'm just going to go from left to right multiplying and dividing. So I start right here. 2 times 1/3. So when I multiply 2 times 1/3, I can do that right here. 2 for 1 times 1 over 3. I get 2/3. So I'll write that over here. 2/3 divided by 1/4. Okay, now in order to do that, which we just learned, I'm going to multiply by the inverse. 2/3 times 4 over 1. And that gives me 8/3. Then I need to reduce that. 3 goes into 8 2 times. I have 2 left over, and my denominator stays the same, 2 2/3. So as you can see, there's a lot of steps to figuring these out, but we've learned how to do all of the computations along the way. So it's just making sure that you break it down and take them step by step. I want you to try 6 times 1/2 divided by 1/4 squared on your own, and then come back and check against my work. So here I see I have an exponent, so that's where I need to start. So I just need to rewrite my other parts. 6 times 1/2 divided by, over here I have 1/4 times 1/4, which equals 1/16. So that would be 1/16 right here. Now I'm just going to multiply and divide going straight across. So I have 6 times 1/2. I can go like this. 6 times 1 is 6. 1 times 2 is 2, divided by 1/16. Now I just need to flip that. 6 over 2 times 16 over 1. I know that 2 goes in there 1 time, and it goes in there 8 times. 6 times 8 equals 48 over 1, which equals 48. I hope that's what you were able to come up with also.